Shalom Bivracha, welcome to the weekly Shir Zera Shimshon. Today is Gimel Pashas Gimel L'Chodesh Tammuz. Yom Hey, Thursday, Pashas Korach in Eretz Yisrael, Chukas Tovshim Pei Vav. Let's learn Be'ez Hashem Yisbarach a nifladige thought in the Zera Shimshon Ois Dalet. And we'll tie this in again with the Chasna season, as we mentioned last week, Be'ez Hashem Yisbarach. Moshe Rabbeinu tells Korach, Boyke v'yoyda Hashem eis ashaloi. Tomorrow morning, let's meet, and you will find out who is right and who is wrong. Say Chazal, why did Moshe Rabbeinu postpone it till tomorrow? Amalei Moshe says in Medrash, Gevula is Chalak HaKadosh Baruch Hu ba'olamoi. The Eibishter has boundaries. Shemo yecholim atem la'arev yom v'layla. There's a time of day, a time of night. You can't mix the two together. Each one rules and reigns a certain amount of hours, and you can't mix it. And you can't compromise that. And therefore, like you understand, there's day and night, the same way you should understand Korach, there's people that have a position to be Kohen Gadol, and people that don't have that position. And this was the way Moshe Rabbeinu was convincing Korach to stop fighting against Aaron HaKohen. This is not your territory. This is not your place. As I say in Chazal, fragt der Heilige Zera Shimshon v'kasha lefi zeh, why do you have to wait until the next morning? Why can't you say, okay, let's meet tonight, 10 o'clock. It's going to be dark. And like you understand, now is not dark, later is going to be dark, and you can't mix them. You can't make darkness now, and you can't make light then. So the same way, you can't argue against the Kuna Gedoyla, Freg the Zera Shimshon. The Lefi Zeh, Ba'oitza Shosh, Ayoim, Kwesh Kosev Rashi, Hoy Laloima, Erev Yoida Hashem. Let's meet tonight. Shahayinu Shoyim Menu. This message will be the same. Like you can't mix night and day, so you can't mix together this position and that position. Question number 2. Void Ma Inyan Zelazeh. Do you really think that Korach didn't know this concept, that there's day and there's night? What was the understanding of this message? Of course, Korach agreed that day and night, but he thought he was entitled to get the position that he wanted. Listen now to a new Peshat, how the Zera Shimshon learns the Pasuk, Boika v'yoyda Hashem, Devarim nefloim v'yisaydiyem, zechus yang aleinu, v'isav medish. The Pasuk says in beginning of Parashas Bereshis, the Eibishter created the concept of stars, the Esak Echavim. Amar Kodesh Baruch Hu, the Eibishter said, the moon used to be large and enormous like the sun. Since the moon went and became smaller, therefore, I'm going to be gozer that when it goes out by night, it should be accompanied by stars. It'll come out by night, it comes with stars, it goes back in, goes back with stars. As a result of her making herself small. Or the Kavah say, V'shem Achiv Yoktan. There was a brother called Yoktan. And this person called Yoktan had a lot of children. The message is, when a person makes themselves humble and small, then Hashem gives them covered. He gives them stars. The mashma, since the moon decided to be humble, then they get a lot of stars to honor it. The sun may be way bigger than the moon, but it didn't do an act of being maktin atzmai, therefore it doesn't get to deserve stars. Yoktan was small, lashon katan. That's the Yisoid we learn from the Levana and the stars. Zog the Zera Shimshon. The Ikka Machloikes Korach Hoysa. What was Korach's taina? Because Elitzapha ben Israel, that was younger than me, he is less entitled than me, he got to be a Nasi. I'm superior, I'm first in the family, I'm older. You don't understand. You think Gadlus has to depend on who is bigger. In Cain, the stars should go out with the sun. The stars don't come out with the sun. Even though the sun's bigger, mightier, stronger, doesn't deserve to get stars. Why? If tomorrow morning you'll be able to make the stars continue to come out with the sun, then you'll be able to be mevatel the nesias of a Litzafim ben Bezil. But since that's not the fact, therefore there is an eternal message, Korach, you have to understand. Just the opposite. A person that's humble and small, and another, they are zeicha to gedula. They are zeicha to gadlus. The Elitzafon miet atzmoi. Elitzafon was humble. Elitzafon didn't think I'm entitled. Elitzafon didn't have the midah gaiva. Therefore, he gets the honor of getting the position. You, Korach, may be older, stronger, smarter, more deserving, but since you don't have the midah of another, you don't get the position. Adler, you run to get a position. The covered runs away. Elitzafon deserves it, not you. That's why I said, tomorrow morning, there'll be no stars. They'll be there by night. They'll disappear as soon as the sun comes out to teach us this important lesson. The Gemara says in Hedron, by this machlokes of Korach and Moshe Rabbeinu, the sun and the moon went to the sky. One of the skies is called Zvul, and they said to the Eibishter, if you defend the honor of Moshe Rabbeinu, Neitzei, we're going to go out today. We are going on strike, said the sun and the moon. Why? Why are they going on strike now? Because since Korach is saying somebody's bigger, he deserves more, it's not about Midas Hanava. Therefore, the Shemesh says, if that's the case, where are my stars? Must be Moshe's right. Said the sun and the moon, we are striking if Hashem doesn't take a position to defend Moshe Rabbeinu, because we are the living proof that Korach is wrong. The Lavana made himself small, made herself small. You can't have two malachim, two kings, wearing one crown. Therefore, these 250 people that wanted Kuna Gedoyla, they should have learned from the moon. You can't have so many people having this position of Kala Eda Kula Kedoshim. Lefi Devreim, lefi the 250 people, why did the moon become smaller? Therefore, the sun and the moon said, we are going on strike. So we have two explanations why the sun and the moon were going on strike. And Hashem said, we're not going to go out if we don't take revenge against Korach. Firstly, because of the taina of the stars that only go to the moon, not to the sun. Secondly, the whole reason why the moon became smaller was based on the concept you can't have two people in control. Therefore, the moon had to become smaller. If this argument is correct, you could have 250 people, and they could all be counting Gedolim. There's no reason for the moon to become smaller. And this is a nifladige fundamental lesson of the Heilige Zereshimshin. I once heard the name of Rabbi Bakst. Steht in Shulchan Aruch, in the Ramah, in Even Ezer Simon Samach Aleph. The minig is that you make a chuppah tachas hakoichavim, in front, under the stars. Some places they do it outside. If we do it inside, we open up the roof and we make sure that the chuppah is under the stars. What's the understanding? What's the message? Why we make the chuppah under the stars? He said a beautiful pshat. Rashi says in the beginning of Parashat Shemos, the Kechavim have a tremendous chavivus by the Eibishter. The Eibishter loves them and cherishes them. Why is that so? And he said it the way he said it, but in light of this piece of Zereshimshin, we can say, we're sending a message to the Chasna and Kala. You're getting married, and there's the position of the man and the position of the woman. We tell the Chasna, Don't think because you are the man, you are superior, you can have control, therefore you should require and demand all the things that you are deserving to get from this marriage. You tell the woman she has things that she deserves, and you can require this and demand this. We tell the chasna and kala, the greatest gadlus is to be mavata. The greatest madreger is make yourself small, make yourself humble, be mavatal yourself. And he says, it's okay, I'll give in. I want this, I know you want this, and I'm ready here to say, you can have what you want. And that's why the Kechavim have Chavivas by the Eibishter. The Kechavim were created as a result of Levana being Mamayat herself. When somebody's Mamayat themselves, and Hashem creates something for that, that has a Chavivas by the Eibishter. The Yoir Kodesh says, Man dehu Rav, he is Yoir. Man de Yoir Rav. Whoever's big is small, and somebody small becomes big. I think that's the lashon of the Yoir Kodesh. That's the understanding. When a person can lower himself for somebody else, that's godless. That's greatness. Not to have the highest position, just the opposite. To lower yourself for somebody else, mavata for somebody else, give somebody else the covet, give somebody else the honor. Conclude with the words of Rabbi Yosef Bechemne Kornitzer. He said, Yaakov Avinu left. Yaakov Beishava, after learning 14 years, after being in the house of Yaakov Avinu, reaching tremendous madregas, not sleeping in bed, and he's going to get married, going to look for a shidduch. What happens? He has a revelation. He's lying down there in the Har Maria, the holiest place in the world, and he sees Malachi Ashares, Oilem v'yardim boy. There's a ladder, and those Malachi Ashares are going up, and then they are coming down. Zakriv Yosef Nechemia, the crook of a Rav, Davan Niflam Ha'it. Yaakov Avinu, you are so great and enormous. You're the holiest person in this world. But let me tell you a lesson how you get married. When you get married and you're going out into the world, you have to understand, look at this. The Malachi Asharis go up to Shemayim to attain heavenly madregas, connection to Hashem Yisbarach. And they are filled with inspiration and gadlus that we can't imagine. What do they do with that? Then they come and Yordim boy, they bring it down into this world, into this Eretz Hagashmi, and they are mashpia. They lower themselves for the world. They told Yaakov Avinu, you are on top of the ladder. You are in Shemayim. Now the avoid is after Oilam, be v'yordim. The Chayz Dargin is Itza. Go down and lower yourself. Get into the world of Oilam Hazeh and be mashpia from your higher madrega. Be mavater on your godless for the sake of elevating everybody else in this world. And that's the key to a successful marriage. That's when you have a chassan and kala that are stars, that are ready to be mavate, and they understand true godless is dependent on how much a person's ready to be mavate. Zchustay hagadol v'akadosh yagen aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. Amen. A good Shabbos.